What's going on? I'm looking forward to this slate. I know these teams seem a little slimy, but I'm telling you, there's some hot takes, and I think there's some good leverage plays tonight. I'm more excited for this Thursday night football game than I am for most. I know I like a good shootout game too, but at least they're not completely sloggy-ass pieces of shit teams. At least we got something to work with. What's up, new guy? I'm the Degenerate 75. I'm a DFS content creator who focuses on football, golf, and soon-to-be NASCAR. I'm here to help people get a little bit better with the process. If you want picks and plays and all that, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, you're probably not going to get a lot here, but I am going to focus on trying to help you get into better contests, help you get onto narratives, and to help you improve your process. If that sounds interesting, I encourage you to check out that schedule right there, you motherfather. I just realized the editor did not send me my contest. Maybe he did. But anyways, if you find you like the cut of my jib, go check out that schedule right there. I do the show every Monday and Thursday. I also do my final live stream Saturday night, 7 o'clock. Lord's time zone, as always. Be there for that. I also do college football and golf, if you don't know. All right. Let's get going. First of all, don't forget me and that is the wrong fucking tab. The editor is fucking struggling today. Me and Tambo do our weekly show every Tuesday. Go check that out as our first preview. I also put up my retrospective this week, which I normally do over on my site. So check that out also. And most importantly, hit the like, you donkeys. For every 50 likes we get over there, I will draw your name out of the chat. All you got to do is ask up to 2 questions. If you get drawn, we will build a lineup and put it in the Millionaire Maker tonight, okay? So make sure you're doing that. I appreciate it. Like, subscribe, tell a friend. I couldn't do it without all of you guys. Continue to grow. Appreciate every single one of you motherfathers. Let's get over to contest selection. First of all, man, I've just really fallen in love with the idea. When I play Showdown, I know a lot of people are going to go playing this Millionaire Maker tonight, but 44% to first, man, you have to have a really big bankroll to be doing that, right? Because if you're entering that, you should be max entering it, okay? And then, like, I'm just telling you, try playing in these contests that have less than 1,000 people. And I'm going to quit chasing the dream that you're going to hit life-changing money one day. If you want to play a full year of Showdown, NFL Showdown, get in sustainably sized contests, right? Like, if you were going to play $100 tonight, check out this $100 single entry right here, right? Only 2,700 people in it. That's not small, but it's also not, like, ginormous. That is one that you could actually have a real sweat in, right? It has a solid payout structure in that only 20% goes to first, and then second place is only 40% of first, which we don't love. 10th place is 25th. So that is a way better structure than the Millionaire Maker, right? Wait, I don't want to look at Classic. What the fuck am I doing here? Wait, I want to be on Showdown, you fucking moron. Sorry. So maybe that was a bad example. Here's the $100 single entry for night. Only 1,000 entrants. First place, 20% of first. Second half of that. And 10th is, what is that, 126th, 127th of first. Pretty dang good, Bob. Pretty dang good. That'd be such a better way to spend your $100 tonight. I also really like this $50 single entry. 10% to first. Second place is 40% of first, and 10th place is 1/10. Pretty solid structure. I'm telling you, man, get in these smaller contests. Build a good lineup around a narrative that you like, and you'll be amazed how much more frequently you'll have a sweat, how much more frequently you'll get 2, 3, 4, 5x times your money back, and more importantly, how often you can actually ship a GPP, okay? Quit chasing these big Millionaire Makers. If you want to chase them, that's fine. It's your money. Do whatever you want. But if you're one of those donkey dicks that's always out of money by November 1st because you blow through all your money on these Showdown and main slates, always chasing $1 million, just know you're doing it to yourself, okay? It's the best advice I could give you. Moving on, let's get over to the Rosetta Stone. We're going to jump straight into it today. This is what I put out over on my website, dgen75.com. Yes, this is the black and white version. I have one with all my projections and optimal rates and ownership and everything on it. It actually looks like this, but, you know, this is YouTube, so you're going to get the free one, pal. Lot of stuff to break down. Please get your questions in over there. Hit the like. I will be answering your questions at the end. We'll be going over everything. I have some pretty spicy takes for you tonight. I don't always come at you with the spicy takes. Hey, Sam, I see you, new guy. Welcome, new guy. I don't always come with the spicy takes, but I think I've got more takes tonight than I normally do, right? Like, I'm going to come at you with some narratives tonight. You know, like, so often we get into, what's your narrative? Is it going to be a slog? Is it going to be a shootout? New Orleans blows them out. Jacksonville blows them out. I think I have a pretty different narrative to bring at you tonight. And I think, you know, like, use it or don't. I don't give a shit, but I'm just going to plant the idea, and you do with it what you will, okay? I think, as always, we need to start with the injuries. The biggest news we're watching is Trevor Lawrence is currently questionable. He says he intends on playing. I would say probably something around the neighborhood of 65 to 70%. Old T-Law will play tonight. But don't forget, at the very end of that last game, being a dumbass, he takes a sack and, like, sprains his knee, right? So there is a chance that he will play or may not play. And even if he does play, I think you're going to see him a little more limited, right? T-Law's not a guy that exactly runs around like a gazelle out on the field. But I think he's going to be even more limited than normal tonight, okay? The other big news, Zay Jones is going to continue to be out. I think you're going to see that usage just continue to be funneled to Kirk, Ridley, Ingram, and you would think Agnew, but we have not seen that. I think Agnew literally got 0 targets that last week whenever Zay was out. The other big news, Jamal Williams is in for tonight, so that changes up the New Orleans running back situation, and I think it makes that running back situation all the more murkier, so we'll talk about that. And the last big piece of news is Juwan Johnson, the tight end for New Orleans, is out, which now opens up a lot of questions at the tight end spot for the Saints, and maybe makes Taysom Hill a smash play. We'll talk more about that, but those are the big injuries as they stand at 12:06 in the Lord's time zone, okay? I think I want to start by just starting out with my narratives. Right? I've got 2 big takes tonight that I want you to consider, okay? First of all, the running back situation. Okay, everybody always falls in love with the idea that a narrative has to be this team blows out this team, or it's a slog, or it's whatever. Maybe your narrative can just be tonight that running back situations are icky and I'm fading them. That is a narrative to run with, right? And so maybe you build your lineups just fading these running back situations. What do I mean by that? Well, Travis Etienne did me well last week, right? I shipped a GPP with that motherfather in my lineup. I appreciate you. But if you're being honest, if he doesn't fall into the box twice, he doesn't have that great of a game, right? He actually has a very subpar game. So I will warn you that a chalky Travis Etienne at 10,200 on this slate, on a guy that has largely become touchdown dependent on big games, could be a place to very much differentiate yourself. Furthermore, the Saints are not exactly the worst team against the run. They're slightly above average against the run, and this could be a game where we see Travis Etienne, he's just a little guy, and smashing his little ass up the guard's ass every play isn't the best use for him, right? So maybe we see more Tank Bigsby today, or maybe it's just Travis Etienne doesn't fall into the box, and when he doesn't, he really has probably about a 10-point average if he doesn't get a touchdown tonight, right? And at 10 points at 10,000, if you can fade that, that's ballsy, right? Moving over to the Saints side, I think it's just as icky, right? With Jamal Williams being back, I think that this does 2 things. I think that this takes a lot of the first and second down work that Alvin Kamara has been getting. I think that takes it away from him. I also think it really nerfs Kendre Miller's upside. Kendre Miller's still a viable play just because he's so cheap at 1,800 and he is a home run hitter. He could have that one big play. But just Alvin Kamara being out there for, a massive amount of the plays, I just don't think you're going to see that. Jamal Williams is a guy that the coaches trust. He is going to be out there. He's going to get a lot of those runs up the middle. He is likely going to get the goal line work, and I think that really nerfs the value of Alvin Kamara. I am very aware that Alvin Kamara has been getting the vast majority of his value through, 9,000 targets a game. But at some point, you got to think that those aren't sustainable. And I want to tell you, his average depth of target is negative 1.3. Okay, so you're only getting the points whenever he is catching the ball, and if he's only gets 3 or 4 targets this game, which is a very reasonable regression to the mean with Jamal Williams being there. How on earth is Alvin Kamara ever going to return value at 10,400? So my first take would be maybe all these running back situations are just a little murky tonight, and you fade these running backs because Kamara, Williams, and Etienne are all going to be owned. So right there, that could be a narrative. I'm fading these running back situations. They're too icky for me, and I don't want to get caught up in it. I think the other spicy take I would have for you tonight is the opposite of that. There's some wide receivers, 2 wide receivers in particular tonight that I think are just an absolute smash spots because of numerous things. First of all, both of these teams are very concentrated in their usage when it comes to wide receivers, right? Jacksonville basically throws the ball to 3 guys when Zay Jones is out. They throw it to Kirk, they throw it to Ridley, they throw it to Ingram. That's it. That's all they throw the ball to, right? And on the New Orleans, so we'll start with them, and then I'll do New Orleans, right? So if the ball's only going to those 3 guys, well, then we probably want to target those 3 guys. But I think within that, we want to go a little bit deeper. Right? First of all, I think Christian Kirk has definitely asserted himself as the number 1 wide receiver for Jacksonville. He got off to that slow first week where Ridley had the big week, and ever since then, this has clearly been Christian Kirk as the number 1 wide receiver. Furthermore, within that, Marshawn Lattimore is the badass cornerback for the Saints. He is likely going to be on the same field as Ridley for most of the game. And so I think you're going to see Ridley, who has not exactly been great recently, has not been getting that separation. He's going to be up against one of probably the top 10 cornerbacks in the NFL in Lattimore, and I think that really decreases his value. And if his value is being decreased and there's only so much usage to go around, you have to assume that Christian Kirk is going to eat up some of that ownership. Thus, I think that a guy who has been trending as the number 1 wide receiver for the Jags and now probably is going to be in the more favorable matchup You got to like that one, Bob. You got to like that one. I also think Jamal Agnew, I just have a hard time believing that a guy that's on the field as much as he is will get 0 targets again, right? I think that Agnew and Ingram also benefit from Calvin Ridley possibly being in a very bad matchup, but no one benefits more than Christian Kirk. And at $8,000, he is not only a good flex play, he is a tremendous captain-style play because he is a guy that could get 9 catches, 120 yards, and a touchdown and would just smash this slate, right? On the flip side, we have New Orleans, and I a couple things to note. The first one I want to note is Chris Olave is just due for a freaking breakout game. Okay, Chris Olave is a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL, and at $9,000, I think he's underpriced on this slate. You can see he's getting 9 targets a game. He just hasn't cashed in for that big game yet. He is also going to be up against a tremendous. If you're a guy that believes in wide receiver cornerback matchups, Olave is going up against a corner. Now, I can't even remember the slapdick's name from Jacksonville, but a guy that literally is giving up like 83% catch efficiency to wide receivers. And then now you're playing Chris Olave, a top wide receiver. It just seems like he is going to be in a spot where he is going to probably annihilate this guy. He is due for a big game. You would also think that Michael Thomas would stand to benefit from this, but don't forget that the Jags love to run a lot of zone defense, and Michael Thomas does not do as well against zone defense. Matter of fact, the guy who gets a higher usage rate against zone defenses is Rashid Shaheed, who I'm pretty sure won my dude Dalton $1 million last week. Well, was part of the reason he won $1 million. And so I think that like Olave and Kirk are the guys who stand to benefit from these matchups the most. They're both reasonably priced, and you can easily get both of them in your lineup if you're buying that this is going to be my narrative. This tonight could be, I believe that these 2 wide receivers are going to be high usage, and I'm going to stack them maybe with a quarterback, maybe with another pass catcher. And fade the running back situation, right? So like there's multiple narratives out there you could go with. So those are my 2 spicy takes. Just looking at the game overall, this is a very, a low total at 40 points and a very competitive just 1-point line. I think that in games like this, I think that almost everybody is on the table. You really got to pick your narrative. I think in a game with a 40-point total that's going to be competitive, I think that defenses and kickers get a slight boost. They tend to do very well in games like this because there's not as many guys scoring 10, 12 points, and these defenses and kickers can get to 8 and 10 points and can often outpace 3rd and 4th receivers and tight ends and backup running backs. And in games like that, you're going to need them in there. So I think that you need to be very open to playing the kickers and the defenses. I think that they do pair nicely together. Jacksonville's defense is a cool $1,600 cheaper than New Orleans, which, that's not nothing. I think these defenses are relatively even as far as, the Saints have a slight edge, but I don't know that they have a freaking $1,600 edge. And being in the Dome tonight, I'm not afraid to play kickers. These kickers could easily get 3 field goals, and if they get 3 field goals and an extra point, they're almost certainly going to be in a nutted type lineup. So really think about how you think this game's going to play out. I will tell you my favorite narrative going into it is probably the usage wide receiver narrative between Kirk and Olave. Run it back with probably a defense, probably a kicker, and then a quarterback or 2, and then maybe mix in another pass catcher like an Ingram or a Taysom Hill. Which then brings me to the tight ends, and I got to end on this. With Juwan Johnson being out, we saw Taysom Hill actually be kind of a usage monster last week. I think he had it was either 7 targets or 7 catches. Big game. He is priced up, but don't forget, Taysom Hill still is eligible to run gadget plays, right? He could still be brought in and could run some wildcat down on the goal line. So I think it's $6,200. That is a big price up for Taysom Hill, but man, if he's going to play a normal tight end role and still have the upside of getting some rushing yards and more importantly, a rushing touchdown, I think Taysom Hill's really interesting. Interesting. If you want to know just any absolute punts to play tonight, I think that Jamal Agnew is still probably your best bet. I just can't believe he didn't do anything last week. Tim Jones and Elijah Cook are also guys that could be out there in some 4 wide receiver sets for the Jags. But man, those guys, you're really punting with those motherfathers. And I think for the other side, I think Bowden and Kirkwood are likely to be the 4th and 5th wide receivers for the Saints tonight. I would lean Kirkwood. I think he has a better chance as he's on the field significantly more. And then you always have the punt tight ends, Island of Foster Moreau, and old Jimmy Graham caught a touchdown. I wouldn't play Jimmy Graham, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say he did get a touchdown, right? So there you go. That is a run through of some of all the injury. That is a couple narratives for you to consider. That is some fun facts for you to consider. And don't forget, Rashid Shaheed. Maybe he wins somebody $1 million 2 slates in a row. Can be done. It can be done. Let me get a swig of the cold brew. Most importantly, man, find your narrative. Build a lineup that reflects that narrative. Get into a good structured contest. Please don't play in the Millionaire Maker unless you're putting 150 lineups in it. Then you can. If you play 150, clearly you know what you're doing. You're rich or you're a dumbass, and you're not going to listen to me anyways. You got to be one of those three, so that's fine, right? So that would be my advice. I'm going to get to questions now, and I'm going to get to the drawing. Editor, I see us at 65 likes. Some mother fathers better start smashing the like button to get us up to 100 likes. I want to do 2 drawings today. Hey, come check out my site, DGen75. We have PGA. We have NFL. Main slate, Showdown. We have college football. We have soon-to-be NASCAR coming this February. We're just a little growing site that could. We value every single one of you. And yes, did I win a GPP this week? Yeah, I did. Is it my 12th one of the year? Yes, it is. Am I going to flex about it on Twitter so you'll come join my site? No, I'm not. Because I'm more about these guys right here winning. We had 18 GPP winners last week on my little site. Look at all these mother fathers flying the flag and winning multiple thousands of dollars. You're like, I don't see any $100,000 on there. Yeah, because people that have a good process don't play in fucking lotteries. That's why, pal. I preach sustainability, contest selection, having fun with DFS, building a process, and if you do it right, you can become successful one day. Also, don't forget, I see the editor just posted my contest link over there. I do have my contest link. Get in it. It's right there. It's a $5 3 max for NFL main slate come this Sunday. Go hop in it now so I'm not trying to fill that shit up on Sunday morning. Also, over on my site, I have the best tool out there called the Rosetta Stone. All that stuff you need to know to make good showdown lineups between ownership, projections, point per dollar, optimal rates, everything you need to know. Right here, I do this for every single NFL slate. All right? So, editor, for right now, draw me a name. I see 74 likes. Let's draw one for right now, and then we will draw another one once we get to 100 likes. Editor, draw it. While he does that, I want to tell you guys, if you want to just sign up for my newsletter, it's in the description of this. If you sign up for my newsletter and you let support DGen75 on Twitter know, we'll just give you a free week on the site, okay? Free week, all access. You can have all the sports I do. You'll see it, and then you'll be like, oh, shit, this place is awesome. So just sign up. I have a football newsletter and a golf newsletter. Sign up for either of them, okay? Nick is one. Oh, my God, Nick's running hot. Nick, I can feel this heater coming for Nick. Also, after my show at the top of the hour, go watch Ship It. They're going to be doing their show tonight for Thursday Night Football. I know, ignore the date. That's just an old thumbnail. They are doing theirs at the top of the hour. Go check out Title, Hoop, and Tambo. They do great work breaking it down. They will have hot takes too, so get over there and watch them. And if you don't know, me and Tambo are going to be doing a meetup at the Waste Management come this February. So if you're interested in doing that, let me know, because if you want to come meet up with us, we might just get a big Airbnb and stay there. So be planning on that. We'll be out there February 8th through the 12th. If you've ever wanted to meet me or Tambo or both of us, or want to drink beer, or just generally want to talk shit to guys, well, then this will be a fun fucking hangout for you, okay? So there it is. I'm going to get to some questions while you guys get me to 100 likes. Let's get over here and let's answer some questions. Let me move my screen. All right, here we go. How do you, Mike says, how is your feel for cash on this game? I don't mind it, Mike, but I got to tell you, if I'm going to come at this slate, Mike, the best thing to do with cash is if, like, you find your build is, like, what everybody else wants to build, that's a good time to play cash. But tonight, I kind of have a spicy take, right? I want to fade a lot of the chalkier guys. And if I'm going to fade the chalkier guys, I don't want to be playing cash. I want to be playing GPP. So I think the answer to this question, Mike, is look at your player pool or your narrative that you're building tonight, and then see, is this more in line with what most people are doing, or is this kind of counter to what everybody's doing? And then let that determine if you play more cash or GPPs. Feels like this game will be a struggle. Kicker or defense in the captain? Yes. I think that kickers, I'm not a big defense or kicker in the captain spot, especially kickers, but I think I could get very warm to some defense in there, right? If you have a hobbled Trevor Lawrence, and we know Derek Carr, that guy's always a pick six waiting to happen. I think defenses are very viable in the captain spot tonight if you think this game's going to get sloggy, right? And I think that both these quarterbacks are guys that could get sacked 5 times, throw 2 interceptions. If one of them gets returned to the house, all of a sudden the defense does get there, right? And then it allows you to get all of the good plays along with it, because defenses at the captain save you so much money. Already reserved on the listener league, my boy Blue. Let's go. Thanks, brother. Nick says, lunch with Uncle DJ 4 days in a row. I go hard in the paint, Nick. I go hard in the paint. Wait until golf season, Nick. I'm thinking about doing a live show 5 days in a row. 5 days in a row. They won't always be at lunch, but Monday through Friday, I think I'm going to have a live show, because the big guy's getting into golf betting this year. That's right. Smart to fade a hobble Lawrence. I think so, but I also think that you're going to probably get a slight discount on his ownership, Nick. But I will say this is the big thing about Lawrence this year. He has not had a big game. I think the highest he's scored in a game so far this year is like 20 points on DK scoring, right? So if that's the most he's done, now he's up on the road against a good defense and he's hobbled. I mean, what's his ceiling? That would be my question for you, right? Let's see. Hey, thanks for being here. Just little 126. Let's go. Can you stack Thomas and Olave without Carr to get there? Yeah, I think so. Tingus Mingus, because those guys get so much usage that they can get there just on receptions, right? Let's say Olave has 9 catches for 110 yards and Michael Thompson has 8 catches for 80 yards and just maybe one of them gets a touchdown. I think that those two guys could get there without Carr. I can see that. I really can. Plus, Derek Carr is good for 2 interceptions and probably a fumble, right? So there's something to consider. Or here's a weird narrative. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to even do that. I'm not even going to plant that seed because then people will think I'm serious. Lawrence playing tonight, or is it? I'm pretty sure Lawrence is going to play, but we will be monitoring that news. Illini fan Bill, I know at 6 o'clock tonight, I will be gone out of town, but my other guys will be running the stream over on the Discord. They'll have all the news for you as the actives and inactives come out, right? I guess it would just be the inactives. Are you making a trip to Bedlam? Yes, I am. You got tickets for me? Because I'm really struggling to find a ticket. Okie, if you have tickets for me, you reach out to me. I will hook you the fuck up if you get me a ticket to the game. My brother's being a douchebag and be like, I want to go to Bedlam. It's like, bro, you can't name a single player on the team. Why do you want to go to Bedlam? Is 4-2 Saints unique enough tonight? Let's see. I actually think that a 4-2, the most common build tonight will be a 3-3 build, and the second most common will be a 4-2 Saints build. So I don't think that that's very different, Delbert. But, depending on the pieces that you make up that 4-2, you could be different. And if you do a 4-2 Saints with one of your 2 Jags being at the captain, that would be different too. Can I ask more than 2 questions? If you want to kick in the dick, you can. What's the story for tonight? I already gave it to Trues. All right, best advice for creating your own narrative. Vegas lines, gut feel, don't overthink it, contrarian. I already went with it. I really like the fade running backs, go wide receivers, but my narratives are wrong all the time. I just play for my narratives to be right a few times a year and try to cash in on it, right? That's how I roll. You go into every showdown slate when you play GPPs expecting to lose, but know that if you're playing those contrarian narratives, so you can hit 4 or 5 of those a year and then really spike the nuts on one of them, you can pay for the whole damn thing, right? I do think, Stewie, I do think Lawrence will play. I would guess about 65%, as I said earlier. Do you prefer a 4-2, 4-2 and 5-1s or 3-3s? I think tonight's going to be a very competitive game, so I would probably lean 3-3s, but if I'm being contrarian, Dice Hawk, I think that 4-2s and 5-1s are always the best way to be contrarian, right? And we've seen a lot of 5-1s get there this year. A lot of them. I see Sam, new guy in the back. Let's go, you motherfather. Love to see you. I see a lot of new names in here. Thank you all you new guys for being here. Editor, I see us up to 93 likes, 145 people. We're getting to 100. Do narratives have completely different beneficiary depending on the team, i.e. positive, negative, neutral game scripts, or do they often have some players that always have usage? Yeah, so I mean, some guys are always going to get their usage, right? Like, so let's say you're going with the narrative Jacksonville's going to blow out New Orleans tonight, right? I still think that even in that one, I think a guy like Olave or Thomas are still kind of like script-proofed in that because they're going to probably be getting targeted as the team is passing in the second half trying to get back in it. And are probably still going to get their 10 targets and can almost be script-proof, right? But in something like that, Jamal Williams, if you think that Jacksonville's going to blow him out, I think Jamal Williams gets completely nerfed in a script like that, right? And he's almost unplayable. Sounds like Lawrence is in. Does it make a 4-2-5-1 Saints build look like a good option? Yeah, I really like in a close line like this, right, where the line's only 1 point right now. The Saints are -1. I think that the 5-1 build becomes so much more contrarian because then in a close build, people are going to want to get 3-3s most often, and they're feeling edgy. They'll play 4-2. So a 5-1 can really get you different in a close line, right? Now, if this is a 14-point line, you're not getting different if you play 5 49ers because, they're going to likely blow the team out, quote unquote. And so it's much more reasonable to play 5-1, and so more people do it. But in a game like this, not very many people are going to play 5-1 builds. What's up, Chris? All right, do you think Jacksonville are better plays than Lawrence due to low ownership? Do you think Jacksonville? Yeah, I think all the Jacksonville guys are going to come in at a slight discounted ownership. So I always lean towards that. But I also the Saints at home on primetime games. It's just a narrative that goes back in my head a long time. How much does Williams being back affect Kamara? I think a good amount. I think you should probably expect about a 20% dip in Kamara's usage. That would be my thoughts. Thoughts on Taysom Hill tonight? I mean, I'll tell you what. I think he's probably a guy I would play at captain or not at all, right? I think he's a guy that could break the slate and have a huge game, or he could do nothing. And guys like that are dudes, he's a lot like Gabe Davis in that sense, right? Brandon Cooks, guys like that. I either like to fade them or I like to put them in my captain spot. That's how I like to handle guys like that typically. A couple offensive struggles in the red zone. That's a good one, Mike. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know the red zone efficiency of these teams, but if they struggle in the red zone, make that your narrative. These teams are going to move the ball, but they're not going to score touchdowns, and so I'm going to play the kickers, right? Play both kickers, play the guys that you think are going to move the ball between the 20s, and then get those kickers and hope for like a 16-13 type game, right? Is a 5-1 your favorite build tonight? It's my favorite contrarian build, Stewie. I just building some lineups earlier today, I did not end up on any 5-1s, but I will tell you, it is very contrarian. If you're going to build a Hill lineup, how would you think about that? So, like, if I'm doing it, I think the first thing I'm doing is I got to ask myself, how is he going to get it done? Is he going to get it done as a traditional tight end catching passes? Because if so, then I think he can be paired with Derek Carr. Or do I think that he's going to get a little bit as a tight end, but he's also going to get like some wildcat/goal line work, and he's going to pilfer a touchdown from Kamara or Williams or Carr in that situation. And in that situation, I don't like him paired with those guys because he's directly stepping on the dick of those guys. So I don't mind Taysom Hill, but I'm also trying to think in my narrative, how do I think he's going to get it done, and how does that affect everybody else on his team? All right, how long till we see T-Law and Head and Shoulders commercial? I mean, honestly, it's amazing he's not already there. It's amazing he's not already there. Wait, isn't he in a Old Spice commercial? Maybe I'm making that up. Will 3-3 builds be the highest chalk? They certainly will be. New guy here. Love the channel. Hey, Steve, I love you, you mother father. Thanks for being here. No RB, no problem. I mean, that's what I'm running with. I could be wrong. It could be an all RB night, right? You can go the opposite of my picks all the time. Actually, it's not even a pick because I haven't even decided what I'm going to do. Chris, Shaheed, good value tonight? I think so. I think that Shaheed is good value, but I will warn you about, if $5,000, he's not a good value, but I think he's a solid play, right? Because I think as a third wide receiver, he is slightly overvalued. I think he should probably be more, 5,000 is probably fair if I'm being honest. But after that big touchdown last week, you'd be amazed, Chris, how many people just go look at game logs and they're going to see that he had that big week last week, and they're going to be like, oh, hell, I got to play old Shaheed. All right. Is there any way we could play a Dusty Carr? Always, right? If nobody wants to play Derek Carr, first of all, how often on Showdown do you get a starting quarterback who threw for 350 yards last week? Bear in mind, how often do you get them under $9,000? Hardly ever. Hardly ever. So always. And you got to remember, we're not the only ones who are smart enough to see that Derek Carr can get vultured by Taysom Hill. So sometimes you embrace that variance and you just play, well, shit, if people are thinking he's going to get vultured by Taysom Hill, I'll go play Derek Carr without Taysom Hill, and now I'll have double leverage. If Carr does well, he's going to be lower owned than he should as an $8,800 quarterback, and I'm fading Taysom Hill, who is probably, I assume, going to be every bit of 25% owned tonight. All right. By the way, I only answer if I see a question mark. Too many damn questions. Think this could be a smash spot for Thomas? Well, Sean, I hope you heard the stats earlier. I do think that one of these Saints wide receivers is going to get there and have a very big game, but I will tell you that Jacksonville runs a lot of zone, and Thomas does worse against zone. Teams that run zone, he does not do as well against. It's actually Rashid Shaheed who does better against zone, and Jacksonville, I believe, runs nearly 80% zone. Can you play two pass catchers from the same team without the quarterback getting there? I think you can, right? Especially in this game with the wide receivers being such high usage. I would, I don't mind it. I don't mind it, right? There's some games where, like, if two wide receivers get there, the quarterback's definitely going to get there. I don't know that this is that game. I think you could get there with two pass catchers without that without that quarterback, right? All right. 104 likes, editor. Give me another drawing. Give me another drawing. Let's go. Thank you guys for getting me to 100 likes. Appreciate all of you being here. Once again, like, subscribe, turn on the notifications, tell a friend. We just continue to grow, and I got to convert all you guys to little PGA motherfathers once January rolls around, okay? I'm telling you, PGA's fun. Don't knock it till you try it. It's the best sweat out there. I don't even like golf. Bro, 8 years ago, I didn't like golf. Now it's my fucking life, okay? You don't knock it till you try it. Did you get the free NBA League Pass from DraftKings? I didn't, Dylan. Maybe I did. I don't know. I don't give a shit about NBA. I know my lane, Dylan. NBA DFS is okay, but after about 2 weeks, the novelty wears off and it just becomes a grind, right? This is why I love NFL. This is why I love PJ. This is why I love NASCAR. I like to breathe in between my contests, have a couple days to marinate, think about my thoughts, and that is why football, golf, NASCAR are the perfect sports for me. College football also. These MLB, NBA, NHL, sports that are every day, get the fuck out of here. Not for me. I mean, you do you, boo, but I can't handle that every day. Too cute for Shahid at captain. No, Shahid is a captain style play. I don't know if I get there, but he's definitely a play. I'll ask around and see if I can find some tickets. How many you need? Just one. I'll go with you. Right? I don't care. Just get me in the door. I got plenty of homies up in Stillwater. I'll just go hang out with them. Right? Just one ticket. I don't got any OU friends, and actually, you know what? If you can get me two, go ahead. Get me two. Shoot me a DM, please. Where's the big guy headed this weekend? Wait, I'll be around this weekend. Tonight I'm going to a birthday party. If you, Captain Kirk, is it necessary to pair with QB on the Showdown slate? No, I don't think so, Ross. I think that Kirk is definitely a guy that could get there without Lawrence. Now, I don't hate pairing them together, but I don't think that's necessary. Christian Diaz, let's go, Christian. Reach out to me. We will build a lineup, right? Or we can save it till the main slate this Sunday, which I've been running real good on main slate. Lone Star Randy says defense, kicker, captain. I will tell you this. I'm warm to a defense. I don't like kickers, right? You just have to have such a very, very specific game script for a kicker to be the optimal, right? Because you can. I'll just say I never do it. Like that's just I have my 10 commandments that I don't share with everybody, but one of them is don't play kickers at captain. That's just one of mine, right? That's part of me process, man. Is the video explaining sleeper rules only available to members, or is it on YouTube somewhere? Explaining sleeper rules. Wait, what the hell? I don't know what he's talking about. Editor, answer that, man. What are sleeper rules? I don't know. 5-1 with one being a kicker foolish. No, not if you think this game's going to be like 27-6, Nick. I think that could definitely get there. Crap, I'm late. Well, don't be late. I won't answer late people questions. Can you play both defenses if you believe? Oh, absolutely. Both defenses are very viable in a 13-7 game, Steve. Did I win? No. Did we draw your name? All right. Do you look at things like Taysom Hill doesn't have a touchdown yet, so he's due? No. I mean, there is a bit of regression to that, but I don't think anyone's ever due, especially a guy as volatile as Taysom Hill. Volatile players are never due. Guys like Olave, who get tons of targets every game, those guys can be due, so I will ride with that one, right? He's as due as the morning grass. Am I right? Right? Okay. Let's see. What about mixing wide receivers and RD and rounds? RD. I don't know what that. I don't know what D stands for. Okay. Captain Ingram. Yeah, Captain Ingram's a guy that's getting a lot of targets. He's very involved in the offense. And if they're only going to throw the ball to 3 guys, why not Ingram, Rich? You ain't going to sell me. How much can we leave on the table tonight, man? I was building some lineups earlier. I was comfortably leaving $1,000 on the table and still really liking my lineup. So I would say probably upwards of 15 to 1,500, probably, right? The question is, here's always the answer to this. Is this? Here's how much money you can leave on the table. Go build a lineup and then go see if you leave $2,000 on the table. Are you obviously leaving value on the table? Could you go upgrade one guy to somebody who is a noticeably better play? If the answer is no, well then you can easily leave $2,000 on the table. Kamara captain, I think he'll be a good leverage play, but man, I think that guy sucks, and I think that Jamal Williams being back is going to hurt him. But maybe I'm not the only one thinking that, so that makes him a great leverage play, right? So I get to play in the Millie. Yes, you do on my ticket. That's right, Nick. Morikawa winning this week. Yeah, I said last night he was going to win. I told somebody I'd take 3-1. Morikawa is definitely winning this week. Anything stand out to you on FanDuel? I haven't even looked at FanDuel. One thing that really stands out to me is FanDuel fucking sucks at DFS. But I think that there's also not as many sharps over there, so play it. All right, guys, I think that's it. Don't forget, at the top of the hour, go check out Tambo and the Ship It crew. Also, don't forget about my waste management coming up. Go check out my retrospective I put out and me and Tambo's course preview. Thank you for all being here. Don't forget dgen75.com. I appreciate every single one of you being here. Almost got up to 200. Thank you for hitting a like. We will talk to you next time. Enjoy this outro, you mother father.